Now, do you ever feel overwhelmed trying to balance your full-time job and your passion project? Well, I've been there, and today I am going to show you how to plan your week like a pro in such a way that you feel on top of everything finally. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura, and here we talk about productivity, creativity, and personal growth for people who have a full-time job and a side hustle. If that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you are notified every single week when I put out a new video. Now, as someone who loves a job, I think it's also very, very important that you have a side hustle. You have something outside of your 9 to 5 job that you're equally passionate about. And even if you do not intend to scale your side hustle to a point where it becomes a full-time job, well, in this economy, you really, really need to have a multiple streams of income. That is very, very essential. It is hard to try to balance both, right? Your full-time job and your side hustle is something that I really struggled with at first. And that is why I started doing a lot of research when it comes to productivity and time management, because even though I did love my job, or I do love my job, I didn't want my life to revolve only around my job, right? And the way you can really handle a full-time job and a side hustle is by planning effectively. Now, planning is the foundation of productivity, period, right? Like, you need to know how to plan. You need to plan effectively. And that's why there's a saying where failing to plan is planning to fail. So planning gives you a roadmap rather than you just winging it. That is why you plan. So you have a roadmap, you have a strategy, you have something that you are working towards. Now, when you plan, you're able to take intentional steps towards achieving your goals. You're able to measure your outcomes and easily make adjustments. And even when things change, because I guarantee you they're gonna change, right? You can easily go back to the drawing board and then start from the beginning. You plan again. That is why it's so important for you to learn how to plan. Now, with that being said, let's go into how you can effectively plan your week for maximum success. Now, the first thing you're going to do is brain dump. Now, you need to write down every single task, every idea, every responsibility that is in your mind, right? You need to get everything out of your head. Like, the brain dump aspect of planning is for organization. It is extremely important for you to do this exercise in order for you to really organize the tasks that you are going to do every single week. The brain dump activity is really the first step to organization. Personally, I do a brain dump within the week, right? I do not wait till the end of the week or the beginning of a week to do a brain dump, to have a brain dump session. So what I do is I brain dump within the week. Every single time that an idea pops into my head, every single time that a task pops into my head, I make sure that I write it down. I write them down as they come up because I realize that I easily forget. And it is something that is common. You can think of something this minute, and then the very next minute, when you really want to try to remember what you thought about, you just can't. So as the ideas come up, as I think about things that I need to do, things that I need to add to my to-do list, I just write them down so I do not forget when it's time for me to actually get them done. So now you can use a notebook, you can use a whiteboard, you can use an app like Notion or Trello or whatever app that suits you, right? Or you can simply use the notepad on your phone, and that is my personal favorite. I just use my notepad to dump all of my ideas, whatever tasks that I think of throughout the week, whatever I'm doing. Since I'm always on my phone, right? It's easier that way, in my opinion, because you're always with your phone. So you can just write it down in your phone. Just open a notepad, write it down. You can have different notepads, right? Organize your notepads for different tasks or different focus areas in your life. So you can always brain dump whenever things come up, whenever ideas or tasks come up, and you do not need to wait till the end of the week or the beginning of the week to try to remember every single thing to put it down on paper. Now, this doesn't mean you cannot set up time to brain dump. I do recommend you write stuff down as you remember them, but also every single week or every single day, depending on what works for you, you want to set up some time to equally brain dump, where you just try to remember stuff that you want to do and write it down. So even though I do write stuff down within the week, what I do is every Sunday, I do set up 45 minutes to an hour to plan my week, and during that time I equally do my brain dumping exercise before I really start planning out my tasks for the week. But quite frankly, I have realized, for me personally, I really do not remember stuff that I want to do when I just sit down to try to remember. I always remember it at random times, and that's why I choose to just let's write it down as it pops up, so I do not forget. So what you want to do is group similar tasks into different categories, right? You can have, like, for example, on your notepad, you can have a page for work, a page for your side hustle, a page for personal, where you can easily like separate and organize these tasks. And as you think about them, as you do your brain dump, you can separate them in this category, so it's easier and more organized. But for my own system, my work related stuff goes into a notebook. I do have a notebook that I write down everything for anything that's work related. So that works for me. I don't know why, but it just works for me. For anything that has to do with work, I use a notebook. But for everything else, personal work, personal and maybe side hustle, I use my notepad. So you can try all of this and then figure out what works for you and stick with it. Now, the second step to planning your week is prioritizing. And the method that I use, which is something that I recommend, is using the Eisenhower metrics for prioritization. Now, after doing your brain dump exercise, the next thing you want to do is prioritize or organize those tasks and prioritize them using the Eisenhower metrics. This tool simply helps you separate and organize your tasks by way of importance, right? It really helps you understand what is urgent and important and what is really not. And I go into more details about the Eisenhower metrics in this video right here. So it's basically you separating your tasks into 4 quadrants. Urgent and important, and those are the things that you do immediately. Those are the critical stuff. Not urgent and important, those are the tasks that you schedule. Urgent and not important, those are the tasks that you delegate. And also, if you are not in a position where you can delegate some tasks, I also do recommend that you schedule this. And then you have the not urgent and not important, and you 100% want to delete or eliminate those tasks. So for example, scheduling or writing content for a week falls into the bucket of not urgent but important, right? Also, planning for a week, your planning session for the week falls into the bucket of not urgent but important. So these are the tasks that you want to schedule. Now, this method has really helped me identify and focus on more important tasks. And in addition to that, I equally use the one thing strategy, where I do identify the number one thing that I want to accomplish every single week. And that becomes like my highlight for the week, my number one thing for the week. And I create action items towards achieving that particular goal. So I equally talk about that in this video right here. So you want to watch that after this. Now, you can use color codes for your priorities, right, to make it visually clear, but in my opinion, this is just a preference, an individual preference, right? So it's subjective. If you want to do that, go ahead and do it. I really do not do it. I feel like it's just a time waster for me. I know exactly what I want to do. I organize my tasks on my calendar by priority, so I know the highest priority is at the top of my list. So I really do not focus on color codes, but you can do that if that is something that you like. Now, before we go ahead, I really want to know what your biggest struggle is with weekly planning. If you have any, go to the comment section and let me know. Now, the third step towards planning for a really effective week is time blocking for deep work. Now, with your tasks already prioritized, you want to assign dedicated time slots on your calendar to make sure that every important task really gets the attention it deserves. Time blocking is something that has really worked for so many people, including myself. And I really started implementing this after I read the book Deep Work by Carl Newport. I do recommend you read that book. It's really, really good. For example, on your calendar, you can block out 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Like every Tuesday and Thursday for deep work. Or you can block out maybe 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. every Saturday for deep work, depending on your schedule. Right? So that's exactly what it means for you to time block for deep work. So I use Google Calendar to time block. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of tools out there, but I purposely did not research that for this video, because the purpose of this video is to really reduce the friction and the overwhelm for those with a full-time job and a side hustle. Now, providing different tools is going to mean you're going to want to try them all, which is eventually just going to make you overwhelmed. And that really defeats the purpose of this video and this channel. So now just use whatever calendar tool you have on your phone, or you can use a physical planner, whatever works for you, and just time block for it to work. So make sure you leave buffer in between, like different time blocks to account for overruns, because I do guarantee you that is going to happen. So you want to ensure that you account for that. Now, the next step to you planning for your week is setting weekly goals. Now, you want to go ahead and really narrow your focus to set 1 to 3 weekly goals using the SMART framework. And SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time. And I also have a video for that, and you can watch it right here. For goal setting, I use the one thing strategy. And that is also another strategy that I learned from the book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And this strategy is basically you asking yourself, what is the one thing that if I do focus on that is going to make everything else easier or irrelevant? So instead of you just saying, oh, this week I want to work on my business, you want to ensure that you are breaking that down and you're making the goal very specific and measurable. Rather, you're going to say, I'm going to create 2 Instagram posts and write 1 email for my side hustle. So rather than posting on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Threads, whatever, right? The one thing strategy is going to help you hone in on the most important platforms, maybe 1 or 2 at most, where if you focus on that platform, it's going to help you achieve the maximum results. You want to write your goals in your dedicated planner or digital template, right? Now, this does not only provide clarity, but it's going to provide a sense of achievement once you go back to check them off. The next step is review and audit. And this is when the magic happens, right? In your review and adjustment phase. It's where you reflect, you learn, and then you make adjustments for the next week. This habit helps in tweaking your schedule, reducing stress, and really helps you stay agile. So to sum it up, planning isn't about cramming every single minute of your week with tasks, but it is about really prioritizing what is truly important, what truly matters. So by doing a brain dump using the Eisenhower metrics, time blocking, setting clear weekly goals, and reviewing your process, you are setting yourself up for success even when you're balancing a full-time job and a side hustle. So try implementing 1 or 2 of these strategies this week, and let me know in the comment section which one made the biggest difference for you. So thank you so much for watching. If you found these tips helpful, subscribe to this channel for more practical advice on how to balance your full-time job and your passion projects. And don't forget to check the description box for your weekly planning template to get you started. And lastly, make sure you watch this video on the screen next to learn more about how you can implement the one thing strategy in order to set clear, achievable goals. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.